Okay, so this is problem 11.1.37, and they want us to write a general term a sub n for the following sequence, and they want us to assume that n begins with 1. And so we have 7 plus 1 over 6, 7 minus 1 over 7, 7 plus 1 over 8, and so on. That pattern continues. Okay, so I'm going to write it a little bigger so that you can see it. So we have 7 plus and 7 minus, 7 plus, and 7 minus. Okay. All right, so when you're writing a general a sub n, the first thing you want to do is just, if you have anything that is not changing, you want to deal with that. So notice that each of these just has a 7 in it. So we're just going to have a 7 in our sequence, in our general a sub n expression for this. Okay. And then notice that the sign is oscillating here. So we're going positive, negative, positive, negative. And then also we have a fraction, and that fraction always has a 1 in the numerator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a fraction where I have a 1 in the numerator. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to oscillate the sign here. And the way that you oscillate the sign is you can take your negative 1 and you can raise it to a power of either n or n plus 1. And the reason that I'm going to raise it to n plus 1 is this right here is my a sub 1, this is a sub 2, a sub 3, a sub 4, and so on. When my n is equal to 1, that gives me my a sub 1. And when n equals 1, if I plug that in here, 1 plus 1 is 2. So I would be looking at negative 1 to the second power. And negative 1 to the second power would be positive, and that would give me this positive sign right here. Okay. So if you go up to a equals, or a sub 2, that's an n equals 2. And then if we were to plug in 2, you'd see 2 plus 1 is 3. And that negative 1 to the third power would be negative, and that's where we would get this negative sign. So this right here, this negative 1 to the n plus 1, causes an oscillation in sign. So anytime you see an oscillation in sign and you want to cause an oscillation, you can use this. You can also use negative 1 to the n to oscillate sign. And the way that you know which one to use is you just try it out. If I had put, if this had been negative here, then I would have wanted negative 1 to the n here. And you can just try it out. Plug in 1, do you get the right sign? If not, try the other one. Okay. All right. And then we have to take a look at what's happening in the denominator here. So we have a 6, a 7, an 8, and a 9. Okay. And so it's increasing by 1 every time. So what we have to do is we have to take a look at the fact that here, n is equal to 1, and we have a 6. Here, n is equal to 2, and we have a 7. So essentially the pattern here is if I take my n and I add 5, that's going to give me these values. So when a is 1, 1 plus 5 gives me 6. When a is 2, 2 plus 5 gives me 7. When a is 3, 3 plus 5 gives me 8, and so on. Okay, so your general term here would be that.